All right, today we are going to add and subtract mixed numbers with unlike denominators. Mixed numbers with unlike denominators. Okay, so the simplest way to do this, it might take longer, is we can convert both numbers to improper fractions. And then convert it back to mixed numbers at the end. This will, most of the time, this will take a lot longer. You can do it. It just takes longer. All right, so I'm going to show you the faster way. So let's take the number 9 3/4 plus 3 5/6. Okay, so we could change them to improper fractions, find a common denominator, solve it, and then, but let's do it this other way. We're going to line up vertically so that we can see it better and separate the whole numbers from the fraction. Okay, so I'm going to do 9 plus 3, and then I'm going to do 3/4 plus 5/6. So I've separated them. Okay, that's step one. Next step, we need to find the common denominators for the fractions. Find the common or the like denominator for the fractions, and the equivalent fractions then. Equivalent fractions, and then we're going to add them. Okay, so 3/4 and 5/6. So the quickest common denominator, we could multiply 4 times 6 to get 24. I know the least common denominator, though, is 12, so I'm going to use 12. So 6 times 2 is 12. 5 times 2 is 10. So that's my equivalent fraction, 5, 6, and 10 twelfths. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. So now I'm going to add them. 9 twelfths plus 10 twelfths is 19 twelfths. Okay, then we're going to add the whole numbers. And the reason we do this second or third, not second, is because when you get to subtraction, it'll be important that you do it after in case you have to borrow. Okay, so now my answer is 12 plus 19 twelfths, 12 and 19 twelfths. Well, we can see 19 twelfths is an improper fraction. You can't have an improper fraction. We can't have an improper fraction over here. So 19 twelfths is the same as, well, 12 goes into 19 one time with a remainder of 7, 1 and 7 twelfths. So 12 plus 1 and 7 twelfths is 13 and 7 twelfths. So then we combine and we simplify. 7 twelfths is already in simplest form. All right, let's do another problem like that. Another addition problem like that. We'll do 2 addition and 2 subtraction with borrowing, make it a little bit harder. Okay, let's do 4 1/3, and I'm just going to write it vertically. 4 1/3 plus 5 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 plus 5, and I'm going to do 1/3 plus 3/4. 1/3 plus 3/4, we need a common denominator. Our quickest common denominator would be 3 times 4, which is 12. That's also our least common denominator. 4 times 3 is 12, so 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12, so 1 times 4 is 4. 4 twelfths plus 9 twelfths. We add the numerators, and then we keep the denominator the same. Then we add the whole numbers for step 3. 4 plus 5 is 9. So my answer is 9 and 13 twelfths. But wait, we can't have an improper fraction. 13 twelfths is the same as 12 goes into 13 one time with the remainder 1, so it's 1 and 1 twelfth. So I'm going to add the 9 to the 1 and 1 twelfth to give me 10 and a 12th. Then I'm going to simplify. We're already simplified. All right, let's go to subtraction now. Subtraction is a little bit more difficult. For subtraction, let me give you a problem first to do. Let's do 3 1/3 minus 1 5/8. Again, we're going to line them up vertically and separate the whole number from the fraction, just like we did above. We're going to find the common denominator and the equivalent fractions for the fractions. Okay, so 1/3 and 5/8. Our quickest common denominator is 24. That's also our least common denominator. 8 times 3 is 24. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 8 is 24. 1 times 8 is 8. Okay, so now I have 3 and 8 24ths minus 1 and 15 24ths. We're doing each separately. If you cannot subtract, you must borrow. Okay, and we did this a little bit on Monday. Then borrowing's not always the easiest thing to do. Okay, so we need to borrow from our, we can't do 8 minus 15, so we need to borrow from this 3. So we need to borrow a whole. A whole in this case is 24 24ths. So 24 24ths we know is 1. So we're going to add that to the 8 24ths. That gives us a total of 32 24ths. Okay? So, again, we're going to borrow, if you cannot subtract, you must borrow. Borrow 1 from the whole number and add the denominator, because we have our denominator of 24, to the numerator. We did that. Now we subtract the fractions, and then we simplify. So 32 over 24 minus 15 over 24 gives us 17 24ths. And now over here we have 2 minus 1, which gave us 1. That's why it's important that we don't subtract first and then come over here, come over to the fraction. Then we need to simplify. 17 is prime, so my answer is just that, 1 and 17 24ths. Okay, let me give you another example of that. And again, if you want to just change them to improper fractions and then back to whole numbers, you can do that. But we need to understand the system too. Let's do 9 1/2 minus 4 5/7. And the nice thing about writing them vertically is you can write the equivalent fraction right next to it. Okay, so we need a common denominator, or a like denominator. 14. We did times 7, so 1/2 is the same as 7/14. Times 2 times 2. We have 10/14. Okay, we can't do 7/14 minus 10/14. That doesn't work for us. So we need to borrow. We're going to borrow from this 9. So it becomes an 8. And I borrow 14/14. That's why we said we add the denominator to the numerator to give us 21/14. Now I can subtract. 21/14 minus 10/14 is 11/14. And then 8 minus 4 is 4. So my answer is 4 and 11/14. It is already simplified for you. All right, that is how we add and subtract mixed numbers with unlike denominators.